Today we're going to be talking about the benefits of dual citizenship. For me, the process took a lot longer than I expected, but in this video what I want to do is talk to you about the benefits of being a dual citizen and also having multiple passports for whenever you're traveling or for other great reasons. Got two of my passports here. Got my United States passport. Go ahead and check it out. And I have my Mexican passport. The Mexican passport took me I would say 3 years to get it. It was a mission to get that passport. American passport was very easy. I was born in the United States. As long as you're born in the United States, you are automatically a citizen. I was able to apply for my passport. When I took a trip to Japan, when I was in college, I applied for the passport, got it. I love America and I love the red, white, and blue. Mexican passport. I just got my Mexican passport, I would say 2 months ago, and it has been one of the best things for me in my situation. For me, it was a process to get this citizenship because I got the citizenship not because I was born in Mexico, but because my parents were born in Mexico. I was able to get my citizenship that way. It's kind of like a hereditary bloodline process. It wasn't too difficult as long as you have everything that's required to do the process. So if you have to have your parents' birth certificates from the state that they're from. My parents are from Guanajuato, so for me, I had to get their birth certificates from the state of Guanajuato. I had to get all of their documents. For me, it got very complicated because some of the records that my parents had were misspelled, and I had to get them corrected. I had to go back to California, get a lawyer, get a power of attorney so I can actually get my citizenship. But I finally got it. I was able to apply for my passport. For the most part, the reason that I wanted to become a dual citizen was because it was going to give me access to two countries. I was going to be able to go to Mexico and to the United States whenever I wanted to. I didn't have to apply for a tourist visa. I didn't have to do the same things that a tourist would typically do. And it was just gonna make it easier for me to travel back and forth. I can't tell you how many times when I get to the airport from the United States flying into Mexico, how easy it is for me to just present my Mexican passport on both sides, in the United States and when I get to Mexico, and just go through customs. Makes it so much easier. I don't have to worry about all that bullshit paperwork that other people have to file when they go into the country as tourists. For me, boom, Mexican. Come back, boom, American. It makes it so much easier, makes it more efficient. Also, I always felt like, I was Mexican. I was Mexican by blood, and I was American by nationality, by my culture and by the way that I grew up. The fact that my parents were born in Mexico, I always wanted to have the ability to say that I'm actually Mexican. Not just Mexican in just by conversation that my parents were from there, but I also wanted to be Mexican by paper, officially Mexican. And I always had that strong, pride for Mexico. I've always enjoyed going to Mexico when I was a kid, and I've always felt Mexican. So for me, it was a no-brainer, man. I wanted to get my Mexican passport. I wanted to become a Mexican citizen. And luckily, we have the ability to do that as an American-born Mexican-American. For me, it's great because I'm always in the country. I'm always investing into the country because I live here. I spend a lot of money here. So I think it's a great initiative for the government to have these programs available for Mexican Americans that are, maybe they're 1 or 2 generations away, but they want to come back one day to Mexico. I know that one day I want to come back here and I want to retire. My parents have properties here, so I want to come back and retire here. So for me, it's great to have the dual citizenship for that reason. Very prideful for that. And now I can say I'm actually Mexican, I'm also American. With 2 passports, you have access to different countries. And you have there's different regulations for where you can travel to. So for example, I have not been yet, but for example, if I were to travel to Brazil with my American passport, they charge American tourists a fee to go into Brazil. And as opposed to having the Mexican passport, you can travel, there's no issues. There's no tourist fees. Mexico has a better relationship with Brazil as opposed to with the United States. And that's one of the biggest benefits to note, is that a lot of countries have different relationships, different, foreign policy relationships. The United States will have a lot of countries that they don't see eye to eye together. And Mexico is a country that's not known for their military industrial complex. They're not known for for intervention in different countries. Mexico is more of a country that a lot of tourists like to come visit. So Mexico has a lot of great relationships with many countries around the world. So traveling abroad can make it easier with the Mexican passport as a Mexican, because a lot of countries enjoy Mexico. They like Mexicans more for that reason, right? It's not as tense as it is with the American passport. And it is where it is, man. Like, I love America. I love being from America as well. I love that we have the strongest military in the world. There's a lot of pride that comes from that as well. But, you know, you have to learn how to navigate through these current global conditions. You got to navigate with the reality of the world, and not just, you know, based off of your pride, right? You have to make sure that you're traveling correctly, and you know where you're going, and you know what's the temperament in that country as well. If I were to travel through, let's say, South America as a Mexican, it makes it easier for me to access those countries. A lot of South American countries have a lot of great relationships with Mexico because we speak the same language. To some extent, we have the same culture. So it just makes it a lot easier to travel to certain countries, and that's what I love about having the Mexican passport. The third reason why I think it's very beneficial to be a dual citizen is because you always have a plan B. If something wrong happens in the United States and I'm forced to flee, let's say, you know, we start getting bombed or some crazy apocalyptic thing starts to happen and it's time to get out of there, to evacuate, I have the ability to go to Mexico. My family has properties here. My family is from here, so I have a lot of connections. I know how to travel through the country pretty safely. And same thing vice versa. If something were to happen in Mexico, I can go to the United States and I can evacuate from that scenario as well. So it's always great to have a plan B in certain situations. Like, nobody thought that the Holocaust was going to happen in Germany. No one thought that, you know, China was going to go through these crazy periods in the 60s with communism. Same thing with Cuba. You know, you always have that. I think it's always beneficial to have that plan B so you can evacuate, move faster, you can navigate through countries, and having two passports can really efficiently help you do that. With two passports, with two citizenships, I have access to two countries. I have access to two economic systems, access to two different social systems, financial systems, everything. If you like this topic, if you want me to discuss more about becoming a dual citizen and also the process, how you can make the process go a lot smoother for you, drop it down in the comments. Let me know what you think. If you're new to my channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Also, give us a like. I'll catch you all in the next video. Stay strong, stay relentless, and keep on conquering. Peace.